Why are atheists reading the Bible? Well, first of all, I just love these stories. One of the most common things that Christians will say to someone who isn't Christian is, "You need to read the Bible." When a non-believer says that they have read the Bible, a Christian will then impugn the non-believer's reading and comprehension abilities. "You're reading it wrong." Apparently, we need a super secret Jesus decoder glasses to read it right. If anybody has a link to that on Amazon, I'd love to have it. Make sure you're reading the right Bible, as if that will somehow unlock the secret door to the God-shaped holes in our hearts. The casual Christian throwaway statement of, "If you just read the Bible, then you'll suddenly magically believe it," but then, wait, no, you're not reading it right. Because reading it has clearly not led to sudden magical belief. It has many of us in the broader non-Christian community saying, "Okay, folks, let's do this on video." I'm sure Miss Possum will join us momentarily. Yeah, you want to come up? Come on. How you doing today? You gonna mess up my camera? Petting a cat. Hello. Love you. Don't bite me. I'll wreck all of our fun here. Hi, I'm Gail, and that's Possum. Welcome to the Secular Scriptures. I am not an atheist, and I dislike hard definitions for squishy brain things, but if we must, I'm an eohumorist, apatheist, and potentially agnostic. I was raised in a broad sphere of evangelical Christian fundamentalism, hitching rides to various area churches with friends, but my two main childhood churches were the First Baptist and Wesleyan Church, with a heaping side helpings of Jehovah's Witness and Assembly of God. As a teenager, it was a different Baptist church, that's a story for another day, and sometimes hanging out with the Mormons, and a very nice Lutheran church that my boobs got me kicked out of. Now there's a funny story. I stopped believing before I was 10 because I read the Bible. I was really mad at God for a few years. That's called misotheism. And then I became an atheist for a little bit. And then I went into paganism, which was incredibly healing. I outgrew it for various reasons and moved into a general pantheism, deism relationship with the universe and the divine, which I really did love. After an ectopic pregnancy caused a stroke in 2012, I realized that I'd stopped believing in God. And I'm actually very comfortable with that. I did try to attend a Methodist church for a little bit when the kid was little, but my minister friend moved and the one who took over was so full of oh hells no that I couldn't leave the building fast enough. Now, over the years, I've read the Bible multiple times. While I'm not entirely certain, I think this might be round 9 of cover-to-cover Bible study, and every time I've done this, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it even more this round without having a Christian study buddy breathing down my neck, telling me I'm reading it wrong, tugging on my sleeve like, "Are you going to convert yet?" Like, no friend, Yahweh's still a total shithead, and that hasn't changed for 3,000 years. I have always loved mythology and legend, and the Bible is an absolutely fantastic treasure trove of both. It has spawned mountains of literature, music, art, cultural history. It has influenced our language, sayings, laws, how we think and respond to the world around us. And even if one doesn't believe, it is so incredibly important to know the literature and history. And to be honest, that alone is enough to make a reasonable person not want to be part of this religion. But again, I do love it. Omo Igbo, the agnostic, published a video a few days ago titled "Black Atheist, Why I Won't Read the Bible," and you should go watch it. Durante Lamar's recent talk about "I don't owe you that" also ties into this, though that's more about setting healthy boundaries. He is an ex-pastor and also has a Bible reading series, and his style may scratch that Sunday itch for you ex-evangelicals. Moreover, he is interested in secular community building. If you aren't Christian, why do you spend so much time talking about the Bible? Well, first, I really do love these stories. You're going to get sick of hearing me say that. Second, after my son decided to tackle reading the Bible last year, I knew that I had to get a handle on my religious trauma. We were discussing these passages, and after he left the room, my hands were shaking and my brain was swirling around with all the painful memories. We can call that church hurt if you want. Religious abuse, destructive doctrine, and disastrous dogma. I am a bottom-up thinker, and that means data. And yes, you should go watch Data Over Dogma. The Bible is the root of the problem, and deconstruction is all the rage right now. If we're doing this, let's do it together. Also, go to therapy. Next, it's cathartic to just be able to read these passages within our own circle and say, dude, and have others just get it. I don't know if this is a Gen X satanic panic left behind era thing, but it is so refreshing to hear someone else talk about these texts without the rose-colored transparency sheet with Jesus stamped diagonally all over the pages. We can talk about the problems of Job and Jephthah and Jesus and not be gaslit with second Great Awakening bullshit in baby Fundy voice the entire time. People are leaving Christianity in droves. I was in the second wave of exits during the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s, and that was really hard. We knew some atheists, but back then most people went to church. It was hard to get a job if you didn't belong to a church. You couldn't get into college without a letter from your pastor. People who left were ostracized from the community, lost business connections, and like myself, suffered violent physical assaults because of our non-belief or non-Christian beliefs. For now, this is a much less violent time on an individual level, but we're probably facing one of the greatest political threats to religious freedom the U.S. has ever seen, and that includes most denominations of Christianity. Now, I think that this monster is going to destroy itself in a short amount of time because they are not a united front, but I do worry about the people who they'll hurt before that happens. What does reading the Bible have to do with this? Well, Christians are not a single united belief. There are over 200 different Christian denominations in the U.S., and they all pick different fruit from this tree. If you've ever wondered why Westboro Baptist Church spews their hate, or why Doug Wilson leaks toxic ooze, or why Joel Osteen can get away with flaunting all of that bling, while Pawpaw embodies the love and charity of Jesus and will feed a crying baby without a moment's hesitation because it's the right thing to do, well, it's all biblical. Because the more mainstream or progressive Christians ignore those hateful passages and pick the love thy neighbor fruit, it doesn't mean that someone else isn't going to come along and say, yeah, cast out the people who don't do what we say or we don't like. Christianity is its own biggest stumbling block. And for good or ill, we have to contend with that. So if it's appreciating mythology, therapeutic coping, deconstruction, part of a fun hobby to argue with fundamentalists, or for social political reasons, my dears, that's why atheists are reading the Bible. Thank you for joining me and Possum on the Secular Scriptures. This was a spontaneous short Sunday placeholder because I released the Church Hurt video on Tuesday, and the Isaac and Rebecca rom-com isn't anywhere near done. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell thingy. Thank you, and welcome to my new subscribers. I never would have guessed that Sarah's death would be so popular. But regardless, let me know what you enjoy about Atheists Reading the Bible videos. There are no wrong answers. If you do enjoy the genre, please also check out Skepticus Joel Reads the Bible. He sings and plays piano too. Mind Shift's Secular Bible Study series. And for higher levels of cathartic snark, Arn Ra's Blasphemers Bible is chocked full of it.